What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And this one wants to talk about Tesla stock as Tesla's tanking like a rock right now after deliveries just came out. So I'm going to break down how the numbers are looking for deliveries, what's going on with the overall market, what you should be watching for moving forward. But before I break anything down about what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, and all these different tickers, let me just mention a couple of things. I'm personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. Each could be worth up to $2,000. This offer ends in just 2 weeks, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, Tesla's tanking very hard right now, guys. Deliveries just came out, and they're not looking the best for Tesla. Tesla delivered, and this is on their official website. This just came out like 2 minutes ago. They delivered 435,000 cars for the third quarter. Production was at 430,000. Big declines left and right, and this is unfortunately not good news. Now, one thing I did yesterday was I was looking at the Chinese insurance data, and I was looking at some more data from Europe, and I was telling you all that the numbers were not looking good. The numbers were looking very weak for Tesla, and I was warning everyone that we may not get the best numbers this time around. And unfortunately, that is what happened for now. Tesla ended up missing many expectations. They missed Wall Street's expectations by a long shot, and just not looking that great, if anything. Now, with this happening, I just want to say that, I still love Tesla. I still believe in this company, of course, for the long term, but for the short term, this is going to lead to some pain, and you have to be ready for this, especially as it's going to reflect on the share price. We're going to be expecting some downside for Tesla now. Unfortunately, Tesla, it's not entirely Tesla's fault that things like this happen, but we have to be open-minded. We have to be ready, and you just have to know that this is going to have a negative effect on the share price. So looking at some more data, you can see right here, they produced 430,000, delivered only 435,000. There's a sequential decline in volumes caused by planned downside for factories, basically, the factory upgrades which were happening, not to mention some demand potential issues in China that played somewhat of a role. So, what do I mean by that? If you guys were looking at the numbers in China for like NEO and these different companies, we saw quite a few declines in the overall sale volume. So, demand in China may have shifted a little bit. That also played another big role. And all this news is just coming out. I mean, Tesla, once again, it's just not looking the best. And many people are now talking about how, they had those major price cuts and yet they still came short. Well, when you're in a recession, things like this are not necessarily out of the ordinary. So as far as news goes for the markets, I just want to remind everyone that 15 minutes after the market opens for the broader market, we have the S&P Global Manufacturing PMI. And then 30 minutes after open, we have the ISM Manufacturing PMI coming out. After all this data comes out, at about 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, we have Jerome Powell giving a speech. Now, this may not be reported on the FOMC calendar because this is not like an FOMC event. Powell sometimes gives speeches outside of the FOMC. And he's going to be giving a speech at 11 o'clock a.m., so we'll see what he says. It's going to cause some volatility. Besides that, the market is looking for an October rebound. As of right now, it's going to look a little weak to start us off, but there is going to likely be a rebound eventually. I still lean in that direction. Congress has dodged a shutdown, which is good news. Apple plans to fix the overheating issues with another software update very soon. And last but not least, we have new news in California. So, anyways, I'm not going to talk too much about politics, but anyways, that's pretty much it for the news affecting the markets. Don't forget, Jerome Powell gives a speech at 11 o'clock a.m. That's the biggest thing for today. And now let's talk about how things are looking. So Tesla is sinking very hard. We're down 4% already. It's going to be sinking very hard. Unfortunately, we got this rejection on the daily. We were talking about some potential downsides. We had this head and shoulders. Tesla could be on its way down to 230 very soon. If that fails us, there's the gap down here to this 216 area. There's likely big downside coming, guys. I want to warn you about this. Please be prepared for this. Tesla only did 430,000 in production and 435,000 in deliveries, which is not great news. Tesla sinking could slow the market a little bit, but it's not that insane. I believe that for SPY, however, we're actually in a bottoming process because we have a possible cup and handle forming. We're going to be watching these key levels very carefully, especially that 425 support. But I believe this could be a cup and handle, or if we break down a little lower, we could be from like a double bottom or form a bullish divergence. But either way, I'm leaning in the direction that the market is bottoming. And once the market finds its bottom, it's going to base. And this could be a very good buying opportunity that comes on this dip. So I'm saying the market could drop more. Yes, it can. But we're going to be basing very, very soon. And we're going to get ready for a monstrous bounce in the future. Is it going to happen immediately? No, it's not going to happen immediately. It could take a little bit of time, but it's going to happen soon. I'm quite confident it's going to happen very, very soon. So you just need to be patient. Okay. Over the next week or so, I do believe the market's going to base and eventually try to bottom. And I believe that it just needs a little bit more time, but that's eventually going to come for SPY. So watch 425, 423 below that, and then 422 as supports, and then watch for a potential bounce afterwards. Okay. Looking at Tesla, let's double check Tesla. It's continuing to sink, hitting 240. It's going to eventually break below that. Looks bearish, insanely bearish on Tesla. As soon as Tesla started sinking, we saw the market turn more red. Apple's looking more bearish, and we're watching 170 support than 169. Completely fine, but I believe there's going to be a big bounce coming soon. I still believe Apple's in the process of bottoming. I believe the market's going to bottom very, very soon. It's just trying to base. You just have to give it some time, and eventually there's going to be a very nice bounce coming, in my opinion. QQQ is looking a little weak now because of Tesla. We have a potential cup and handle forming, but don't worry. I believe that if this thing is going to form a cup and handle, watch 356 or 354 as supports for a bounce. If not, if we test this bottom, we should bounce around there. The market is in a bottoming process, and this is another very good buying opportunity that's coming. I believe that's what's likely going to happen. For Nvda, this thing is going to likely sink. We have this gap down here. We actually have two gaps to fill on Nvda. Gap down here at 435. Also, there's another gap down here at 432. Nvidia is going to sink a little bit more before this thing bases and tries to bounce, but I do believe there's a bounce coming soon for like the more medium term. For the short term, yes, we could drop a little bit for Nvidia over the next like day or so, but this thing is going to bounce eventually. Even if we do, kind of like bounce off this 430 area, retest it, we could still be on a very nice uptrend to form a cup and handle. It could still be on a very strong uptrend, establishing a higher low. To add on to this, I just want to mention that the VIX, even though the VIX is popping a bit, we have a potential head and shoulders on the 4-hour time frame that is still valid. Also on the daily, there's a possible head and shoulders. So if this thing either continues pushing, we could establish a bearish divergence, then reject, or this thing could start downtrending a little bit soon, as this head and shoulders could play out. So either way, I do believe the VIX is going to start downtrending soon. I believe that the market's going to bottom soon and bounce. It just needs a little bit more time, but eventually there's going to be a bounce. Is the market sinking now? Yes, it can. It could continue to sink, yes, but eventually there's going to be some kind of bounce. That's what I'm seeing throughout the charts. The dollar is still looking bullish, but it's approaching this resistance right here. We're going to be watching to see if this thing, the dollar is going to pump a little bit more, so the market's going to sink a little bit more. But we're going to be watching to see how it reacts to this resistance. Does the dollar reject off here? Does the dollar get a huge rejection? Does it establish a bearish divergence? We're just going to have to wait and see on that. Finally, guys, I just want to add that, a couple of other stocks like Amazon, for example, are very flat. We have a gap below on Amazon to fill. So Amazon's going to likely form a double top and come down to fill this gap. But the market's in the bottoming process. I still stand by that. And I believe that Amazon will soon try to base around these lower levels. I believe that there's going to be a balance coming very soon as well. So with that said, guys, when it comes to the way the market's moving, the market is looking a little weak, but don't forget we have Jerome Powell's speech at about 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern time. As far as Tesla goes, I expect this thing to likely sell off more. It's looking very weak, so watch this 240 support, and below that, we're likely going to see this head and shoulders play out, which is going to bring Tesla all the way back down into the lower 200s. Now, we could see 230 first. We're going to be watching 230 if that holds or not. If that eventually breaks, then Tesla could turn more bearish. I believe there's more downside coming after this bearish news. Now, as far as Tesla goes, I'm very optimistic for the long term. For the short term, it's not looking the best after this big decline in deliveries relative to the previous quarter. All right. So with that said, with all this going on, I just want to thank you all so much for listening. Please have an absolutely spectacular rest of the day. Get ready for some more crazy volatility with Jerome Powell speaking, not to mention more changes thanks to Tesla. And with that said, I thank you for listening. Have a great day, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day and peace out.